and final speaker hails from Birmingham, but like St. Partridge, he's one of our own now. Been here that long. The first time actually I met, heard or saw this next speaker, both of us were in a humorous speech contest. I think it was in Oranmore. And he spoke before I did, and his speech. Now bear in mind, the judges give 15% of the marks on audience reaction. His speech was so good, I was laughing so much, one of my colleagues beside me nudged me and said, look, you're giving this guy extra marks here, you're not doing yourself a favour. Advanced speaker, no doubt, absolutely, he sure is. Again, the three objectives. The purpose of this speech is for the master to use the power of reflection on communication skill set. Number 2, what the skill set taught them about themselves. And 3, if and how these skills still apply even in a changed environment today. Time allowed 8 to 10 minutes. Evaluation will be by Francis Gagan with a speech entitled The Ringer. Would you please welcome Rob Partridge.
Thank you very much. When I'm out and I start talking about Toastmasters, my husband pipes up and says, he's talking about that cult, he's a ringer. As in, I didn't need to go to Toastmasters because I already had the confidence to speak in front of people. And he's right, I did. But I'd been to a stage school. I'd performed countless times on stage, on TV. It didn't bother me standing up here talking in front of people. But I had absolutely no idea how to do it properly. Because delivering a speech is very different to performing on a stage in a part where you have a director telling you what to do. So I joined Toastmasters, and Toastmasters taught me 4 different skills. It taught me how to structure a speech, how to do it properly. It gave me presentation skills, to stand up here and be able to do this and have it on the screen. It taught me about impromptu speaking. And it taught me leadership skills. Because I don't know if you noticed on the screen, the tagline for Toastmasters isn't where public speaking is done, it's where leaders are made. Which is what we do. We teach leadership. Now, public speaking is part of that. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests, I want to go through these 4 points and show you exactly what I got from it and how it works. So, speech structure. Everybody knows that a speech needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I know that. It's basic storytelling, and you've heard tonight how a speech is a performance and a story. But do I really know how to start it properly? Because the start has to be powerful. It has to draw people in. They want to listen more. The middle has to be full of facts and information, because that's what you want people to hear. But what if you're putting too much information in? Or what if you're not putting enough in? And your end wants to make people wanting more. You need to think about the ideas of this law they call primacy and recency, where this states that the thing you hear first, you remember longest, but the thing you hear last, you remember first. So you're going to remember for the longest time that my husband calls me a ringer and thinks this is a cult. He's wrong on both accounts. What you're going to remember first is what I tell you at the end. Fingers crossed, if I've done this right. So presentation skills. This is insanely important in so many different aspects of our life. For work, I have to give presentations. For the things I do outside of work, I have to give presentations. And I used to turn up to these presentations and think I was doing a really good job, because at the end of my presentation, everybody would applaud and say, well done. It turns out they weren't doing it because I was good, they were doing it because that's what you're supposed to do. Because my presentations used to go like this. I'd stand with my back to the audience and my slides would be filled with text that I'd just read out, and people were no longer listening to me, but instead reading the text on the screen or looking at pictures that had often got the watermark still in it or were blurred. I had lost my audience. They were no longer paying attention to me, they were reading everything that was on there. I was no longer important, and there was no point in me being there. Toastmasters taught me that now all I need to do is just put simple facts up on there. One word that more often than not is used as a hint for me, so that I know what I'm going to speak about next, and so that I can do this without having written notes. Now, don't get me wrong, I love notes. All the great speakers use notes. So if you're going to give a speech, don't think that you have to remember it off by heart. You can still come up here with your notes. Yet if I hadn't joined Toastmasters and I was asked to speak at an event like this, I would have been at home rehearsing every night to learn this speech off the top of my head. But with Toastmasters, I know I don't have to. It didn't make any difference. The third thing, and one of the most important things that Toastmasters has taught me, is impromptu speaking. This helps so much when it comes to interviews. You can prepare for a job interview as many times as you want, and I guarantee you at some point there's going to be a question you weren't prepared for. With the table topics that we'll have later, you will learn the skill of how to answer an impromptu question. You'll learn different things like taking a pause, thinking about what you've said, because just because someone's asked you a question doesn't mean you need to give them an answer right there and then. You can have a few seconds to think. You can let your brain relax into why they're asking this question. This, to me, has been an incredible skill, and when I get on to the next one, you'll find out exactly why. Leadership. This has been the biggest thing Toastmasters has taught me, and I didn't realise it was happening. I have been the president of 3 different clubs. I've been the area director. I've been a division director. That's all within Toastmasters. And within Toastmasters, I was taught how to take on these different roles. But I was also taught how to do them outside of Toastmasters. So how to do them at work. So when I'm in work and I have to run a meeting, I know how to do it because Toastmasters taught me these leadership skills. In 2017, I was the chairperson of Galway Pride. Galway Pride is the longest running continuous Pride event in Ireland. It wasn't the first, but it's the only one that has gone on every single year. This year, in 2023, they'll be celebrating 34 years of Galway Pride. But as I said, in 2017, I was the chairperson. And I had the honour of having over 3,000 people walk down the streets for our parade. That was the highest number in the history of Galway Pride. Now, it wasn't because I was chairperson, it was because I had a great team and I knew how to lead them. I didn't sit there taking all the jobs on myself. I handed jobs out. I fed back to people how things were going. We had great, productive meetings, and it's all from these skills that Toastmasters taught me. So last year, I was chairperson again, and we had over 4,000 people, making it again the highest turnout ever in Galway's history. And once again, I'm not saying it was because I was chairperson, because we had a team of 16 who all worked very hard to put this event on. But I am going to take the praise and say I led that team because Toastmasters taught me how to do it. Toastmasters taught me how to do that in that team. But I've done it with other teams as well, and I have absolutely loved it because I can now, with the experience I got from sitting at this top table, from standing behind this podium, from sitting in that audience, has allowed me to be able to feel comfortable and confident to do these things. And without Toastmasters, I absolutely would not have had that skill. Toastmasters teaches various things. The building confidence, as I said, I didn't need it because I already had the confidence to stand in front of people, but I guarantee you I was doing it wrong. Because when I had the confidence to stand in front of people, it was because a director had told me where to stand and how to say what I needed to say. Now, I don't need that director. Toastmasters taught me to become a more effective speaker, and I hope that's shining through. I hope those of you that knew me when I first started in Galway and then Oramore and then Loughrea have seen how I've progressed, because my icebreaker hello, I'm Rob, this is my icebreaker, this is the first thing I've ever done. That's exactly how my icebreaker went. It was awful, it was atrocious, because that's what I thought we were supposed to do. It's improved my presentation skills, I think it has. It's improved my leadership skills, absolutely. It's built social networks, and it really has. I have made great friends through Toastmasters, but I've also made friends with people I can call on for favours or to help me out with certain projects. There are members at Loughrea who I have said, I'm thinking of starting this up, will you be part of it? And they've said yes. It's helped me meet professional goals, and it really has. I have done well at work because I have been able to answer these impromptu questions, because I have been able to say, this is what we need to do, and have the knowledge to be able to back it up, because Toastmasters taught me how to do that. With regard to the impromptu speaking, again, going back to Pride, one of the things I had to do was appear on the radio, and they don't tell you what they're going to ask you. So I had questions fired at me about how Pride was going, and I was able to answer them with confidence and with ease, and it is all thanks to Toastmasters. And I promise you, if I can do it, so can you, Mr. Toastmaster.